This one from the Culture Cornette Facebook group was sent in by Warren Howler. Can Jim explain the purpose behind a tape fist match? I saw footage of a tape fist match from 1986 between Ronnie Garvin. He wrote Ronnie Garvin and Tully Blanchard. And I was curious.
You know, that Hands of Stone Ronnie Marvin, he was a hell of a guy.
I was curious as what was special about those type of matches.
Well, it depends on the setup, and I'll explain a few of the for instances. In some territories, they would call it a brass knucks match, but then you would end up, you'd think, well, they're going to have brass knucks, and then they would come to the ring, their fists would be taped, right? And Cyclone Negro in Texas, or, oh, goddamn, who else was that? Don Fargo would do those guys. Don Fargo actually, I think, had a few matches where the brass knucks matches, they had real brass knucks, and they were just trying to work and hoping for the best. But in other places, it was more, realistic, a taped fist match. Ronnie Garvin was the man with the hands of stone. They said he had a knockout punch, right? That's what he was using as his finish. But I can't remember what specific angle they did for Ronnie and who was a Tully, right? To be in a taped fist match.
Right.
But it might have been that Tully knocked him out with a fucking roll of quarters in his fucking hand. Yeah, see, I got hands of stone too, motherfucker, because that's an angle that you would do. The heel used brass knucks or some type of chain around his fist, a dog chain or quarters or whatever. So now the baby face says, fuck it then. You want to fight? We'll just tape our fists up and go at it bare knuckle. So taped fist match. And theoretically, the guys would tape their fists like the boxers do before they put the gloves on, because the gloves are to protect your opponent, where you're not punching him in the face in boxing, where you're not punching him in the face with your bare knuckles, but the taped fist underneath it is to protect the fighter, because it's easy to break your fingers or your knuckles or bones in your hand or whatever when you're punching a guy in the face. So the tape prevents you from having such fragile hands and being able to punch harder. And that's why guys would sell the punches bigger or get color from them or whatever. But point being, that match would probably be instigated when one of the guys was noted for his knockout punch, had a boxing background. The other guy had done something with a foreign object where he'd punched the babyface and knocked him out or something like that. And that's why they're going to settle it that way. Is that, Brian, fairly succinct and adequate explanation?
I think so. And if you grew up a WWF fan, especially in the Northeast, and, eventually when they spread beyond that, it was a gimmick that you never saw. You never saw that kind of match. A stipulation,
that's
I guess
now
you could
that
say.
Now that you mentioned that, I realized, I never even thought of it specifically, that you never saw that in the North.
That's right. What a sad.
You didn't get coal miners' glove matches either.
No, and I still think that one. Man, I was at Halloween Havoc 92, spin the wheel, make the deal. They were building it for weeks.
But no,
and then it was that match, and oh my God, they had like the most amazing. Again, everyone's a mark, but especially back then, before you saw everything, they had everything that you were going to see in the next decade. Barbed wire, this, and all sorts of gimmicks. And then coal miners' glove won. It was the worst stipulation.
But here's the thing. If you were in a territory where they not only did them on a somewhat normal basis, but the guys knew how to do them, they were fucking great. It's only because people, even in the 90s, were booking shit from memory that they'd never actually seen, they'd heard about, or trying to fucking gimmick it up with gimmicks and a bigger budget. One of the best coal miners' glove matches I ever saw was a tag team with Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey against George Goulas and Pez Watley in Louisville. And they had to go like 45 minutes, and they made that fucking thing with George Goulas in it. Because Hickerson and Condrey were great, but you could work the pole and trying to get the glove and the whole 9 yards. And but you have to know how to do that. And the people have to understand what they're seeing. They can't just see it out of the blue and have never seen it before and don't get it. And you didn't educate them, and it's over. And it's goofy. You can't do that.